Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All praise be to Allah, the Almighty, and peace and blessings be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear viewers, it's my pleasure to welcome you to another episode of your program, Glimpses from the Life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Today we'll be looking at certain aspects in the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a moment that indicates his own dedication to giving da'wah, to guiding people, that he sometimes would overlook certain issues or certain people who are really present at that time. As it is known, influential people would have their own followers, and therefore when you direct da'wah to those people, their followers will follow immediately. And this was one of the practices of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he would meet with the leaders of the community and try to convince them to enter into this deen. Convince them that this is the truth and the only truth that they should follow. Just like he did when he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to support Islam with one of the Umars, Umar ibn al-Khattab wa Amr ibn Abu Jahl, Abu al-Hakam. Okay, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted the dua of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, entered Islam. This happens even with when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Taif and met with Bani Abd Yalil there to invite them to Islam, because they were the influencing people of Taif. Therefore, if they would accept Islam, probably most of the followers would do. The same thing with Tufail ibn Amr. May Allah be pleased with him. When he became a Muslim, he immediately went back to his people and said, I am your leader. If you love me, if you will trust me, follow what I have followed and believing in Allah. All these issues, these techniques or methods of da'wah that the Prophet ﷺ was following did not prevent him from addressing what we may call the marginalized section of the societies. And those are the people who really most of the time adhere to the truth because they have softer hearts. They're not losing anything. Most of those people, sometimes they are afraid to lose their wealth, to lose their influence when they become Muslims. Although in reality Allah elevates them and gives them a better. So in an incident when the Prophet ﷺ was given da'wah, a blind man came to him. And the Prophet ﷺ was busy with some of the influential figures of the community. As you know, this blind man is Abdullah ibn Maktum, that the Prophet ﷺ said, this is the man whom Allah blamed me for. Okay? And it is a lesson to the Prophet, to us, to everybody. And as a matter of fact, this surah, which is Abasa wa Tawalla and Ja'ahu al-A'ma, is one of the signs of the prophethood of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. When the blind man approached him, a blind man does not see you, whether you frown, whether you smile, it doesn't matter. They can only hear you, or when you touch them, they will feel you, but they cannot see you. Although the Prophet ﷺ, when the blind man kept getting closer to the Prophet and asked him, teach me about Islam, and the Prophet ﷺ was busy and he wanted to finish what he started with other leaders of the community. Then this surah actually was revealed in Mecca, and in it Allah blamed the Prophet ﷺ for frowning at the face of the blind, where Allah said, Abasa wa Tawalla an Ja'ahu al-A'ma. He frowned and went away when the blind man came to him. Anyway, etc. to the rest of the surah. What do we learn from that? Okay, what do we learn from that? The Prophet ﷺ said, Addabani Rabbi fa ahsana ta'dibi. Allah educated me, brought me up in the best way, And Allah decided for His Prophet, as He mentioned in the Quran, where Allah said, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. you have acquired the highest form of moral character. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. So there is no way for the Prophet ﷺ to move away from that direction, to be the role model, not only for his people, for his nation, but for the whole of humanity in having the great character. The Prophet ﷺ, that moment, it's a direction, it's in form that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directing the Prophet ﷺ to look at those people who are in need of da'wah just like others. If those who think that they're influential, they're powerful, they're rich, they're wealthy, whatever, think that these materialistic aspects of life would drive them away from adhering to the teaching of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to submit to their Lord, these people in the community will accept the truth. And this is why we find that as a part of the essence of this deen, that all people are equal in front of Allah. All of them have been created by Allah, regardless of all differences that may exist among them. All worldly issues don't mean anything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Human beings are valued as human beings, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Okay, we have elevated the sons of Adam. All of us are the sons of Adam. Okay, and this is why the Prophet ﷺ directed his da'wah to people like Bilal, Ammar ibn Yasir and his family, Al Yasir, Julaybib, Suhaib al-Rumi, Zahir, Uqba ibn Amir, Khabbab ibn Arat, and many others who became great leaders of Islam, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when they accepted the truth, they suffered for the truth. They were persecuted for accepting the truth. But those people were elevated that whenever we mentioned Bilal, we don't say the ex-slave of Umayyah ibn Khalaf or whatever. No, we say Bilal, our masters. To the extent that the Sahaba would say, Bilal is our master who was liberated by our master, Mir Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, may Allah be pleased with him. Those people who were marginalized in the community became leaders in the community. Even Abdullah ibn Maktoum himself became one of the mu'adhins, the adhan callers of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we realize that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was observing his Prophet, was guiding him to be the best role model for humanity, to give a lesson that this message did not come from Muhammad, it came from Allah. Even if Muhammad works in one way or another that does not please Allah, Allah will direct him to go into the right path. And the Prophet ﷺ accepted that with open heart, with happiness. Whenever he would say Abdullah ibn Maktoum, he would say, this is the blind man that Allah blamed me for. May Allah guide me and you to the right path, and gather us with our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and those great companions of him that we talk about. We have great hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring us together to see them, to kiss their foreheads, their hands, to be among them in paradise. Those were the companions of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and inshallah we will be, all of us will be the brothers of Prophet Muhammad. غفر الله لي ولكم وللمسلمين أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.